of Nigeria, that murder teachers and stolen children are not a wound to be healed together, but a weapon to be used against a rival. And that's very sad. Let me be careful and precise here, because precision is what I owe everyone listening to me. Not everyone raising their voice is playing this game. When opposition figures like Omoyele Sowore and co demand the urgent rescue of those children, that is not politicization. This is accountability, and accountability is the lifeblood of every democracy in the world. When a citizen asks why no one has been prosecuted for abduction of 400 people in Borno, and they are not doing that to undermine the state, they are doing its conscience a service. Even the combative minister of Federal Capital Territory, that's the person of Nyesom Wike, a man not known for restraint, felt compelled to warn that insecurity must not be turned into any kind of political contest. So I'm not asking anyone to be silent. I'm drawing a line. On one side, legitimate scrutiny, like of the one coming from Omoyele Sowore, asking government that owns the security architecture and own its failure. On the other side, the cynical manufacture of conspiracy over the bodies of children. I mean, that's embarrassing, coming from a former governor. The first thing what people like Omoyele Sowore and co are doing, strengthening the republic. And what is coming from a disgraced former governor does terrorist work for them. Exactly, that's what he's doing for them. Insurgents want fractured society, and every politician who scores a pound of kidnapped child is placing the enemy bet on the nation's behalf. So, what do I actually recommend? Because after speaking, I have to recommend something, and let me give you 5 things. And none of those 5 things are not just slogan. They are not slogan. First, intelligence rooted in community trust is very important. You cannot find hostage in the forest that size of the country without people willing to tell you something. When you see something, you have to say something. People talk to stay the trust, and that's why we need to build the trust. Every act of impunity, every abuse, every broken promises raise the price of that trust. And rebuilding it is not just soft policy. It is the hardest, most operational work, which of course we have to do. The second part of it is accountability, and that's the accountability that public can see. When more than 400 people were abducted in Maiduguri, and up to today nobody has been arrested, nobody has been taken to courtroom, people will start getting worried. Every gang in the country received that same message. The message that Nigeria is open for business. Impunity is recruitment. Prosecution is deterrence. And that brings me to what I said earlier on, that I was interested in knowing the names of those who actually abducted the relative of former minister. Because crime is not about tribe. But when the criminals see the signal, when they get the message that they can do anything, they can get away with it, then they become emboldened. Now that takes me to the third point. A serious move in policing structure, and I want to commend the current government for that. And we need to talk to Senate to speed it up. The Senate is now moving very fast tracking the state policing. Of course, reasonable people are already talking about the fact that, okay, it could be hijacked, the state may misuse it. But let us be realistic. The current model, where a single centralized police force is expected to secure every village in the nation of this size of Nigeria, of course, is failing. We already know it's failing. So the debate must be hard, in open, and soon. At some point, I recommended the US model of National Guard with dual responsibility that could be deployed by the state governor and also by federal government. Because every crisis is local. So, and that's why state policing is very important. So, the fourth part of it is the one my colleagues in the information and technology field have to pay attention to. We need deliberate information defense. Countering propaganda and disinformation cannot be any kind of afterthought handled by a panic press release. It has to be planned function of national security, staff and resource, because the enemy treats it as primary front. And the fifth one and the final one, we got to own the mission. Accept help. Yes, accept help. But a country that outsources its own security surrenders something it may not get back. So we need to be very careful. The strategy must be Nigeria, accountable to Nigerians, and built for the long fight. How we recruit into our army, how we recruit into law enforcement, it should not be the one that the politician will be bringing their ass thugs who rig election for them. And that's why the reform is very important in our security agencies in Nigeria. When we are recruiting, we should not recruit the so-called repentant Boko Haram to be the one guiding us. Right? They should not be, except to want to go and fight an external war that we need everybody, even prisoner, to join the fight, like Russia is doing. But recruiting ex-Boko Haram or the so-called repentant criminals or those who that have worked for politicians in rigging the election, then we are going to be preparing for something worse. The strategy, again, must be Nigeria, accountable to Nigerians, and built for the long fight, not the next news cycle, and certainly not the next election. And with that, I would like to close with this. And I want to go back to those children, those students, those teachers who are still presently in the custody of their abductor. I'm talking about Orire local government. This is terrorism at its core. And that's the test. It asks whether a society will all together or come apart, right? The men who unalive Michael Oyedokun and film everything for everyone to see, to scare us, they are betting that Nigeria will come apart. But there are a lot of things that bring us together than all those small things. Their agenda is to see us turn against one another. Here we are. That they are thinking that we are going to make that mistake of looking at our neighbors to be our enemies and be suspecting everybody, while the real enemy advances under the cover of our chorus. We're not going to fight over this. We are going to unite. So I will not want to accept that bet. And I believe Nigeria can refuse it as well. But refusing it requires leadership that galvanizes instead of divide, a public that demands accountability without surrendering to the despair, a strategy that understands the decisive ground is not a forest or border. It is the belief of the people. It is the art of every citizen. That this nation will protect them and will not abandon them at every point in time. And that is what the message you need to tell every family. That is the message you need to tell every young people. Technology will not save us. A united, clear-eyed will lead Nigeria, and that's what is going to help us. The hour is late, but it is not over yet. Again, this has been the OSRS Intelligence Brief. At Ogun Security Research and Strategic Consulting, we provide strategic analysis, threat assessment, and advisory support to government, business, and security teams navigating exactly this kind of threat. From counterterrorism to transnational cybercrime to the risk of information age, we are here for you. If this analysis was useful to you, I want to encourage you to share it with your colleague who needs to hear and follow our work for more. Again, I am Oludare Ogunlana. Until next time, Stay sharp, stay safe, and stay united. Thank you.